Charity, wisdom, patience, and humility. Each year, the YMCA of the Kanawha Valley attributes the admonition of St. Francis to an individual in the valley whose life personifies the spirit of giving. The YMCA is proud to pay tribute to this year's Spirit of the Valley recipient, Patrick C. Graney III. Patrick Graney is proud to tell you that he hails from a family of entrepreneurs, lawyers, and politicians. His family tree is deeply rooted in West Virginia. His maternal grandfather, William Chapman Revercombe, was a Charleston attorney and a United States Senator. Grandmother Sarah was a political activist in the Republican Party. On the other side of the family, Patrick Graney Sr., Pat's grandfather, was a mining engineer, then later a mine owner and operator, and served as the state road commissioner in Governor Cecil Underwood's first administration. Grandmother Thelma, she was not only the family matriarch and one of Pat's mentors, she was president of the Bank of Mount Hope. Pat's father had a successful law practice. His mother, Anne, the daughter of that U.S. Senator, inherited the family's leadership gene, becoming president of the student body at Hollins. Pat comes from a family of 4. Sister Sharon was the firstborn, then our honoree, Patrick III, Sarah, and Mike. Pat was born in Charleston in 1953, and the family moved to Mount Hope soon after. He grew up playing sandlot sports, and at Mount Hope Junior High, Pat competed on the football and basketball teams. He was on the golf team at White Oak Country Club, and he honed his own leadership skills as a Boy Scout. Also, in his teens, Pat played rhythm guitar and sang in a rock band called Sons of Freedom. Not just a garage band. Pat and his fellow musicians performed at local events. Music was woven into the fabric of his family. Tragedy struck the family in 1968 when Pat's father died unexpectedly at the age of 41. Pat was 14 when that occurred, and as you would expect, it shaped him.
So my big brother is just an awesome guy. I mean, there's there are a lot of different adjectives that could be used to describe Pat. He's brilliant, he's compassionate, he's passionate, he loves his family, he's devoted to his community. He was a fantastic brother, but also a fantastic business partner. And, we lost our father at a young age, and so our mother raised 4 children beautifully. We had a wonderful upbringing, very fortunate. And he sort of stepped into that role as, male leader in our family.
For high school, Pat went to the same school his father had and was graduated from the Deerfield Academy in Massachusetts in 1971. After that, he was off to the University of Virginia. In the spring of his freshman year, he went to a surprise birthday party and made a lasting impression.
My first impression of Pat at that time was the same as I think everybody's first impression of Pat. He was so nice. He was courteous. He was a gentleman. We had a lot of fun. We had a lot of mutual friends. He appealed to every single side of me. And he's the same way today.
Pat and Jessica started dating, and both were involved in a lot of extracurricular activities. During his junior year, Pat was mugged, and not just mugged, he was shot. The robbers got away, but not without a fight.
Pat, in those early years, was exceptional and stood out, similar to how I think he has his whole life. He was never judgmental. He always tried to help people. and bring people along. He's a very hard worker. He tends to the details. And so when you do that, you often have success. I would say he never really tried to be anything but who he was. His success came because of hard work and I think because of his humility and his generosity of spirit.
Pat was managing editor of the student newspaper, an honor committee advisor, and was involved in much more, earning him the distinguished Raven Award for outstanding leadership. 2 months after graduating, in July of 1975, Pat and Jessica were married in the chapel at UVA. Pat was offered a job back home, and so they moved to Beckley. His boss, John B. Long, became a mentor. Not long after, Pat's grandma Graney told him about a company he might be interested in buying into, Petroleum Products Incorporated. It sold to industrial clients like coal mines and had 5 gas stations. A year into owning the business, a call came in during the dead of night, and the officer said, "Your business is on fire." Despite the devastating loss, they still had their trucks and made good on their deliveries the same day. Pat still worked full-time for John Long, and Jessica managed the day-to-day operations of Petroleum Products. She also became a tires, batteries, and accessories salesperson for them. Juggling a job working for someone else, the demands of owning his own business, and with one child at home and another on the way, Pat felt he needed to learn more about business and went back to UVA for an MBA. In 1981, he graduated, earning the Faculty Award for Academic Excellence. One of his early hires was Peggy White.
My perception of Pat in working with him for 30 years, I can tell you, was honest, loyal, hardworking, fun-loving. He always believed in working hard and having fun. Just very dedicated, quite an entrepreneur, and just an all-around incredible individual.
Petroleum Products grew under Pat's leadership from a small 11-employee shop to a multi-state business serving the coal, construction, and oil and gas drilling. He brought in his brother Mike into the business. Those 5 gas stations, they morphed into the chain of one-stop convenience stores. He founded Petroleum Transport, a regional short-haul trucking company. He diversified into various interests in the coal business. He owns and manages several office and warehouse properties, is an investor and advisor in several startup companies. In 1985, Pat answered the call to serve his state as a financial strategist to Governor Arch Moore, working in the Office of Community and Industrial Development. Later, he served as chairman of the West Virginia Economic Development Authority. And for many years, he's been active on the board of the State Chamber of Commerce.
Pat is a servant leader. He embodies the attributes of a servant leader. He shows up not to say what needs to be done and not to say necessarily what's the first thing that comes into his mind. I think Pat approaches the role from the point of view of how can I help? What are we trying to accomplish? Of course he has opinions. Of course he knows things. He actually knows lots of things. But he approaches with I'm here to listen, I'm here to learn, and then I'm here to ask, how can I help, and what can I put on the table that would be most helpful?
I think Pat's leadership style is quiet leadership. It's sensible leadership. It's kind of cast in a gentleness, but there's a lot behind it, whether it's the information that he has, whether it's the way he contemplates things and logically pieces them out. I haven't met one person who doesn't like to work with Pat Graney. I really haven't. And that's in all phases of his life, whether it's politics, government, business, personal. What a tribute, really.
The list of boards on which he's served is lengthy. And in the nonprofit arena, Pat is chairman of the board of trustees for the University of Charleston. And that love of scouting he had as a youth? On his honor, he does his best and gives back as a board member and past president of the Buckskin Council. And the list goes on.
Pat is a very good listener. He's an active listener. He asks good questions. He likes to get to the bottom of things. And in today's environment, just being able to listen to each other and have some appreciation for where the other person might be coming from is a real attribute, and Pat has it.
But first and foremost, Pat Graney is a family man with a great sense of humor. Pat and Jessica have 4 sons, Patrick IV, Governor, Kevin, and Michael.
You couldn't ask for a better father. One of the greatest things Pat's done for his children is he's provided a loving home. And where he had probably opportunities to be elsewhere in his business, he often said, he sort of curtailed his business ambitions so he could be a part of the family.
The family has now grown by 3 daughters-in-law and 8 grandchildren. All love to play at the historic Cheat Mountain Club, in which the family has an interest. Built in 1887 as a hunting and fishing lodge, a lot of favorite memories were made there.
I think what matters most to Pat Graney is family. Family is very important to him and his friends. He is such a hardworking individual, but he also puts his family first, and his friends become his family as well.
Pat and Jessica love to travel. Family and friends alike will tell you Pat's a heck of a travel planner and always prepared. He loves to fly fish and ski, and as busy as he still finds time to golf.
One of his expressions he's always said around the family is it doesn't really matter how hard you fall, it's how quickly you can get up. If he falls or if things do not work out, he just pops back up and starts over again.
Pat's had many opportunities to go elsewhere, to look at other opportunities, to think about other things, but I think he truly is committed to West Virginia and to his community.
On Pat's golf game, if you hit a really good shot right down the middle of the fairway, right where you want to be, Pat calls that position A. And so you'll hit a shot, and if you happen to hit a really good one, he'll bellow out, position A. And you know what? Pat's position A. He's right where you want somebody with influence and compassion. That's Pat. He is position A number 1.
Congratulations, Patrick C. Graney III. You embody the YMCA's Spirit of the Valley Award.